Hey Taurus, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be doing your reading here. So, your meditation. Let's talk about candy. I heard a song. I don't exactly know what it's called. I think it's by Maroon 5, but it's like I feel like I'm going to completely mess this up. But please put this in the comments if anybody knows of which I'm about to refer to. Come and take a bite of me, or oh, so sweet. I don't know. It was a candy so sweet, something Maroon. But I was taken to a very candy land. We'll just move right past that. To a very candy land type setting, if anyone is familiar with the board game, A Candy Land. But it's interesting because I saw the Candy Land and it feels really good. Okay, who doesn't love a Candyland experience? Okay, or that I'm also seeing that scene in Charlie's Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, which turned into Charlie's Chocolate Factory, but interesting, right? So in that movie where all the kids go into that big room where there's the chocolate river and everything's edible, I feel like that is remarking on an aspect of where you've been, right? There's been a certain sweetness or comfort to it, right? But then I saw it sort of wanting to transition and move into something else, right? Because not even candy lasts forever. Moving into something else, and I felt like a somewhat of a resistance on your part, but I feel like the resistance has to do with something that is coming up, and that feels like an acceleration of pace. Okay? An acceleration of pace. Things are about to speed up. I want to point something out. I'm getting the image of, when we eat candy, I'm just going to go down this candy gilded path here. When we eat candy, for the most part, we associate the eating of candy with pleasure, right? It's something that, our experience of eating, a really delicious piece of chocolate is probably different than eating, some, I don't know, Brussels sprouts that have been cooked within an inch of their life and barely resemble a vegetable. No seasoning on it, nothing, right? Even slimy, let's make it old, is very different than eating a piece of really delicious, good quality chocolate, right? And when we eat something like chocolate or candy, that's something that we savor. It's going at a slower pace. For the most part, let's say that you're rushing from one place to another. Well, think about what's associated with that. Protein bars, power bars, on-the-go yogurts, things that are mobile, right? Mobile food, not necessarily something that you sit down and take your time to enjoy. For example, if I'm going from one place to another, going from one meeting to another or whatever have you, I'm probably not going to take that moment to, indulge in a treat of a candy bar. So I'm not really going to enjoy that candy bar if I'm eating it while I'm running from one place to another. Then it's like a missed experience, right? So there's something coming in that for you. I feel like you've been in a place of the enjoyment of a slower pace or a stillness or a sweetness around something. Things are about to speed up. And I would say go with I used to have a teacher that used to say, move with the speed of life. And you're being asked to move with the speed of life coming up here, okay? Then I saw you ending in a scene, and I saw a image from one of these decks I'm about to use here, the Akashic Tarot. It says paths unknown. And there's going to be an option here where you have a path ahead of you, which you can pretty much, exactly where all the stops are, where the 7-Elevens are, where to pull over for a bathroom break, all of these things, right? You're more familiar with it. And there are going to be options that are more unknown and less familiar, but hold the same amount or really more potential and surprise. Okay? All right. Let's see what y'all's animal energy is. By the way, happy almost birthday season. Oh God, I love it. Ooh, you have the swan on the bottom here, which equates to the star energy, which is hope, faith, and illumination. Love this. Okay. The gazelle. This is making sense. So gazelle, beautiful fire energy here for you. Guess what? Gazelles move really quickly. They are so fast when they are bounding across the plains. But here's what's really amazing about gazelles, if you've ever watched videos of them or seen them in the wild. It's, the reason they have these big ears, it's that biological imperative to where they can hear trouble or a predator like a lion from way off so that they can get a head start and they can outrun them, right? So it's interesting because they'll go from a very still, if you ever see a gazelle that's not being, doesn't know it's being watched, right? It's very, very still. It's very at peace. But then, whoop, the minute that ear's engaged and it hears something or thinks it hears something, boom, it's off. It's off like a shot, okay? So there is something here in that for you. Also, the gazelle equates to a 9 of Pentacles energy, which is about entrepreneurship, success, and feeling good about a job well done, being in your independent energy, and really deriving a lot of great pleasure from the work that you have done. And I feel like for you, beautiful bulls, there is work to be done. There is work to do. You're about to have a good amount on your to-do list, and a lot of things before you in accelerated pace here. But the fact that it's coming up and being clarified is the 9 of Pentacles, which is also speaking to, even though this is a fire energy, hearkening to your earth sign selves, I feel like it is highly positive, and it's going to be what you make of it. And the potential on the other side of this is even sweeter than it has been. Okay? Woo! Let's see what's going on for y'all. 9 of Pentacles, realness. This is why this never gets old, y'all. On track. You were just talking about things speeding up. Anyway, so one of scrolls on track. So this very much, there is no need to monologue about this at any great length. Like, this is exactly what it says. On track. There is an element to where you are, but see how it's still, how the person's like luxuriously boarding the train. They're not running onto the train, again, with that candy and that sweetness and appreciating that, slower pace of things. On track, but things are about to speed up because any moment now when old boy gets on the train there and it's going to go, it is going to increase, right, in its pace. It's going to get faster and it's going to move with the speed of life, right? Remember when I said I saw that card that from this deck that says Paths Unknown? And you're going to have a road that's more familiar to you and then a couple that are more unknown. And then you have these 3 directions here. You're going to have some decisions to make and some choices before you, but it feels incredibly positive. Okay? I feel like there's a surprise in store as well. I have to say it. It feels like a surprise. Something is a surprise. Okay. The chess game. 3 keys. So yeah, this equates to like a 3 of Pentacles-esque energy, but this is also about being very strategic in what you do and don't do, right? It's about the timing of things. Again, this timing and pacing is a theme. See how this, is that a queen? Yeah, it's queen. See how this queen is knocked over here within this chess game? This really speaks of being very strategic about not just what you do, but also in like your mind patterns and the way that you do things. What do you give focus to? What do you give attention to? And is it giving you back what you're putting in? That's the chess game. I'm really drawn to the horse here because we're also talking about this like speed of life type deal. I feel like there is clarity. It's coming up for you quite soon as things accelerate. So suddenly what you have time for and what you don't have time for can also become a lot more clear, but it feels like a shifting of priorities. But again, I have to say this, and I'm not just saying it. It's very positive, okay? Trust me, I just got done with another reading that was a similar theme, but not nearly as sweet. So it does feel quite positive, okay? Ooh. I'm so upset. Look, in Crescent Moon, 6 of Keys. Look at this artist chiseling away on this bust. Look at the stars in the sky. We just saw the swan with the star key here, and then we have stars showing up for you here with this moon and cycles and phases. What does this look like to you? Time spent perfecting something, time spent putting effort into something that's going to yield the same results that you put in. You could also look at the sides because I love that we have the 9 of Pentacles showing up with this 6 of Keys. This is about, being the best at what you do, right? Really tailoring your abilities. And when I talk about what you do, this can be a lot of different things. You can be an artist, like this dude right here, chiseling away with a tap, tap, tap by the light of the moon, working all late and odd hours because that's his lifestyle and his fuel, right? Or this can be, your family. You can be like the best dad ever, the best mother ever, and that you live for your family and that's what you're putting your time, focus, and attention to. And as things speed up, and that is a collective experience as well, but as things speed up for you, you're also finding that you're able to derive a lot of pleasure and purpose from whatever this is for you. It feels like whatever you are spending time on, that feels like it is of your own design and decision. So not a boss going, you're going to spend time on this inventory work late. I don't mean anything like that. I mean, things that you choose to spend time on that feel good and natural and organic for you are also going to result in quite a lot of benefit, and also, even because Nine of Pentacles, possible material gain as well in some way, shape, or form. And it could be an energetic thing too, where let's say you're the mom and that's your family, and you put a lot of your love and energy into it, and then it ends up working on your energy in such a way where you end up manifesting something, outside of that given circumstance that has to do with your purpose or work or a certain windfall, unexpected inheritance. There's a surprise in here somewhere, some way, right? Also, those of you who are artists or creators or have a particular skill set, why am I hearing Liam Neeson? I have a particular set of skills. Have a particular skill set, right? You are going to get out of it as much as you put into it. Your success is going to be directly proportionate to the amount of your efforts. I'm getting a special note for someone because I'm feeling a bit, I'm smelling alcohol. Not like cleaning alcohol, but like, the booze, the bottle. I'm hearing for some of you guys that, especially with the candy and the pleasure and all of that, I'm hearing to be weary of excess, even if it's excess of pleasure, right? Be wary of that. Also, it feels like the time for a clear mind, which, listen, I would not begrudge nary a person of their glass of wine or their beers or their toke smokes or whatever it is. But I'm hearing that around this energy, if something of the material realm is interfering with the time or the energy with which you approach your work or what you actually want to give time towards, then maybe it's a good opportunity to do less of that and more of this. Okay, just observe yourself around it. Okay, that's going to be very person specific. I love that you got on track. Hey. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Judgment. Hello and goodbye. Judgment on track. I'll just give you a moment to appreciate this majesty. Judgment on track, right? Like I said, things are about to accelerate. There is this aspect of a certain pace that you've been enjoying. Things are about to accelerate. There's going to be paths unknown ahead of you, but it's all about, are you going to choose from a place of adventure and be willing to move on into a brand new cycle? Judgment is also about clinging to aspects of the past, but this is really in this positive context that I'm feeling this in. This feels a lot more about you are looking to your past briefly in order to inform you before you get on your train moving into the next cycle, going, yeah, I'm going to keep this and that, I'm going to donate this and this, and I'm going to do this differently and keep this. I'm seeing someone sorting clothing to donate or clothing to pass down to a child or clothing. Or something similar to that. You'd even be clearing out things from a life that you had, some time ago, and you're going, wow, this is right. But you're moving ahead. It feels like, do you see how he's just got this one suitcase? It's like you're parsing out, right, what you need. But there is this distinct feeling in this call to move with the speed of life, because it's going to move. And it's about whether you decide to go with that flow. Okay, what I'm basically trying to say, move or be moved. Okay, move or be moved. The chess game. I'm seeing something really specific. Narnia, the Narnia movies. Okay, hello. So within those movies, I don't know the names of them that well. I'm not overly familiar, but there was that cousin of the main kids, the little blonde boy. And he was a big whiner and complainer, and he was always contrarian and I don't want to go through here. I don't want to go through this portal. What's going on? And he was just always kind of that energy, but it was moving along with him, but he just could not see the benefit or adventure of it along the way, right? And it ended up he had to turn into a dragon and go through all this stuff just to get with the program and accept that the journey that he was on was going to lead to, yes, some surprises and differences in your routine, or even maybe some discomfort. But he could have had a very different journey had he just, it doesn't matter if you haven't seen it, this is the example, right? If he had just had his attitude a bit different and reached a place of acceptance a lot earlier, right? You are shifting into a new space and a new cycle. This is along with the collective experience. Move or be moved, right? This comes down to how you see and perceive things, and understand that the energy that you have been in is shifting into something that is accelerating forward. Okay? All within the higher potential as it relates to your individual self, what you particularly are good at, or what is important to you. That's also Knight of Pentacles. What's important to you? King of Cups to clarify the chess game. So I really like that this is clarifying this, because the beaver, guess what, represents an 8 of Pentacles type of energy, which is about, hard work meeting up with timing and skill. So it's also harkening back to the crescent moon here as well. The King of Cups is so amazing because he's all about that emotional balance. And then we have here making very, because this is of the mind, right? Making very calculated decisions, but it does equate back to the 3 of Pentacles, which is also about your artistry and being compensated for the work that you're good at, or as it relates to, again, what is important to you. So I'm hearing for you right now, it's not necessarily in your highest and best good at any given time to allow your head to run the show as much as your intuitive feelings. Allow them to inform you, right? I also rather like that the beaver, this King of Cups here, the King of emotional balance, happy partnerships, relationships, emotional stability is here for you, right? He's on land, but also of the water. And you being earth signs, it does feel rather watery as well. Feels rather watery, but in a good way, okay? Right? Emotional balance, intuition, feeling. I'm hearing home and hearth. Those feel like the keys for you, okay? Oh, the keys for you, right? All right. And crescent moon, hey. Aha, suke. Let me take a sip on this tea. Y'all, we have the Hermit and the crescent moon. Spending time on your own in order to seek guidance, inspiration, taking the time for illumination. Traditionally, he's holding a lantern that is the star from the star key, again, Aquarius energy for you. So these have a lot in common. This is alone time, individuation, and spending time, doing things that matter to you, right? Whether that's self-improvement, self-growth, preparing for something, or doing work, or, setting yourself up for work as well, right? And then we have the Gazelle here back with the 9 of Pentacles. And then we have the number 9, the Hermit, Virgo energy. Another aspect of Virgo energy is that they love a clean home. They love a Marie Kondo experience. They love that everything has try putting something back where it doesn't belong in a Virgo's house. See what happens to you. So anybody watching this who has had dealings with the, true Virgo, of which I speak. But this is really beautiful. Also notice this light of illumination here and this light from the moon as well. The answers, the illumination, the strength, the power, the knowledge, the resilience, the energy. I feel like you guys are going to need energy, but in a good way, are all available within your own resource set of, given, divinely guided action, right? What does that mean? It means, yes, move or be moved and go, move at the speed of life. But around that, don't forget to engage in self-care and take stops along the way to go, hey, is my normal routine of eating this or drinking this or watching this or spending time with this person, is this serving me in this new context of this new phase of which I am entering, right? Feels like things want to be switched up, right? Maybe, Tuesday night, it looks a little different now. And you're foregoing a group Zoom call where you have wine with the girls and play a board game, which sounds amazing. But you're going, hey girl, I'm going to take a few weeks off from that and take some time and really work on a, passion project or art here, music, whatever it is, preparing for your next cycle in some way. I'm going to use this time to really see the home situation, make sure everything's in order because I'm preparing for, either someone to move in or me to move out or whatever it is. But there's a certain aspect of preparedness that wants to happen within and for you. Okay. It does not feel like a group activity. It just doesn't. It does not feel like a group activity. Some aspect of this is not, given with these double stars here, I'm going back to the surprise with the surprise, and it feels like there's an element of wish fulfillment, but it does feel like it is surprising in nature. Let's get an oracle for my bulls. Remember, it's your feelings and your intuition that are here to serve you during this time, okay? Less so the mind palace. All right, Oracle. Ooh. Oh. Oh, she said. Session. Okay. Atoms building. Ew. Yeah, atoms building. So just take a moment to really consider this. This is a boat, right? You also had a train. You have a sort of a carriage situation here with this, again, with this movement, right? Atoms building. You know, remember when we said that things are about to accelerate and you're going from one point of, you know, existence or way of doing things to another? And then we have this boat that's taking the journey, atoms building. You are absolutely building something. I feel like some of you guys are building upon something, but look at this guy. He's literally building a bust, right? 9 of Pentacles, building your empire or building your home palace or building your, you know, your personal haven, whatever that is for you, right? Atoms building. This is really speaking of how, you know, whenever I get this, I always hear that saying of like Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's about appreciating the process and the journey that it takes to get to something, and then it's the creation of it, not in the actualization of it. Meaning, it's a good trope and a cliche for a reason. It really is about the journey so much more than the destination. I always find it's very human, but I always find it very curious when people are really obsessed with knowing how something's going to go. It's like, I need to know how it's going to go before I commit to it, or I need to know how it's going to go before I even like bother. And it's like, sweetie, it's the getting there that's rather the point, because that's going to be what actually leads you to the next thing. It's not actually the destination itself. I want to point out a parallel that's coming through. So a few of you be able to relate to me on this, but if not, like you can, you know, just listen to the example and apply it to your own life. So whenever like someone will do a show, like an actor, right? And they've been in a show, so much of that process is rehearsal. And the show time is so short in comparison to the rehearsal process a lot of the time, right? Unless it's like Broadway where it's like constantly a show every day, but you know, 8 shows a week. But and it's like, oh my God, like there was like months and months of rehearsal, and then it was like 3 weeks of shows, and now it's done. And there's a sadness and a loss that comes with that final performance. And it's that instinctive body way of recognizing that, oh my God, it had nothing to do with the final performance. It really was the getting here. It was the building of relationships, of skill, of experience that it took, of the craft, of the experience, right, of the model, for me to actually get on this other side and then experience the payoff and the benefit of all of that work. Back to the beaver as well, right? Acceleration of events, lovely surprises coming your way, allowing yourself to shift and adapt and be flexible within that as you are aligned for a next, you know, a different energy coming up here. All this potential ahead of this boat, moving forward into the unknown with the light of illumination and inspiration and guidance and hope. Really beautiful, Taurus. It really, really is. Another lantern here. We were talking about the lantern with the hermit, the star key, and got a lantern right here. Stunning. All right, beautiful Taurus bulls. I so hope that this helped and resonated with you. If so, would you, fourth month of the year. Hey, would you do me a huge favor and let me know in the comments below? How are y'all doing? How are you processing? How you holding up? What's going on? How we feeling? How we doing? I love reading your comments. Please check in with me and let me know. Little Lady Crow know what's going on. With that being said, just thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of y'all that is watching and your support. And with that being said, as always, and most importantly, thank you for being you. Be well. Until next time.